You wake up aligned, but somewhere between morning and night, you lose it. At first, it's subtle. A thought you didn't notice. A glance from someone that reminded you of something unresolved. A headline, an unfinished conversation. The faint echo of an old memory. Like a ripple in still water, the alignment you carried begins to scatter, not because your energy was weak, but because your awareness slipped. Here's the truth. Your frequency is not fragile. What's fragile is your attention. When you forget where you are broadcasting from, the world will gladly decide for you. Outside energies rush in, patterns from childhood, collective fear, the anxiety of a co-worker, the unresolved anger of someone you love. And without realizing it, you start living a day that isn't yours, a life that isn't yours. Science has already shown us this. In the famous double-slit experiment, light behaves as infinite probability until it is observed. Consciousness collapses the wave into a particle. But what they don't tell you is that your daily life is the same experiment. Your frequency collapses possibility into reality. And when you drift, the collapse is happening unconsciously. Think of it this way. Two people can walk into the same room. One feels drained, defensive, annoyed. The other feels calm, present, grounded. The room is the same, but the frequency they bring changes the entire experience. One lives in resistance, the other in flow. The world doesn't change, but their perception, their chemistry, their nervous system, their choices shift everything. You do this too. How many times have you started your morning clear only to feel heavy by evening, wondering where the day went? It wasn't the world that stole your alignment. It was a series of tiny, unnoticed leaks, moments where your focus slipped into autopilot, where you matched someone else's frequency instead of holding your own, where the old, unconscious programs played without your permission. This is what I call the hidden cost of drifting frequencies. Every thought has a frequency. Every emotion carries a vibration measurable in your heart, your brain, your nervous system. When you unconsciously replay guilt, shame, worry, or anger, you are collapsing your reality into those same patterns. Not because the universe is punishing you, not because life is unfair, but because reality is a mirror reflecting exactly what you broadcast. And here's the shift. You don't need to fight the drift. You only need to notice it. Awareness is the anchor. The moment you observe your own pattern, when you say, I'm losing my frequency here, the wave collapses differently. You shift from unconscious reaction into conscious creation. This is the observer effect living inside you. So the next time you catch yourself replaying an argument or carrying someone else's heaviness, pause, breathe. Remember, the frequency you wake up in is not fragile, it's infinite. But your awareness of it must be trained, strengthened, renewed. Because the cost of drifting isn't just a bad day, it's the slow erosion of your chosen reality. But the gift of awareness, the decision to hold your alignment, is this. You begin collapsing reality on purpose. You begin broadcasting consciously. You begin choosing a frequency that builds your future instead of repeating your past. This is where transformation begins, not in fighting the drift, but in remembering the truth. You are the observer, and the observer decides what becomes real. You've been told you have to fight for the life you want, but what if the fight is the very thing keeping it away? Here's the paradox. Reality doesn't bend to force, it bends to frequency. Think of a radio. You don't twist the dial harder to get the station. You don't demand the static to leave. You simply tune. And the moment you land on the right frequency, the music is already there. It was always there, hidden inside the field, waiting for you to align. This is how reality works. The double-slit experiment revealed something extraordinary. Light, when not observed, exists in infinite probabilities, a wave of all potential outcomes. But the moment consciousness observes, it collapses into one reality. What most people miss is this: you are observing constantly. Every thought, every emotion, every belief is a tuning fork. And what you observe inwardly, you collapse outwardly. Two people can face the same circumstance: a job loss, a breakup, a financial struggle. One collapses into despair, feeling powerless, trapped in a story of failure. The other tunes into possibility, asking, what new chapter is being born here? The same wave of probability, the same event, yet two completely different realities. Not because life played favorites, but because of the observer's frequency. This is why control doesn't work. You can try to force outcomes, manipulate circumstances, cling to what's falling apart, but it will only exhaust you. Reality doesn't respond to pressure, it responds to resonance. Here's the truth: you are not here to control the wave, you are here to collapse it consciously. Joe Dispenza often says, your personality creates your personal reality. And what is personality? A repeated pattern of thoughts, feelings, and behaviors. When you change the pattern, you change the tuning. And when you change the tuning, the external reality shifts, not because you fought it, but because you aligned with it. Think about it. When you're anxious, rushing, and resisting, life feels heavy. Doors seem closed. Conversations go sideways. Synchronicity disappears. But when you shift into calm coherence, suddenly things flow. The right people appear. Timing lines up. What looked like chaos a moment ago starts to reveal hidden order. It wasn't magic. It was frequency. You don't have to chase. You don't have to beg. You don't have to prove. You simply tune. And here's where the real awakening comes. The universe is already broadcasting everything you could ever desire. Infinite possibilities exist in the quantum field right now. Abundance, love, healing, expansion. They're already encoded in the wave. Your role is not to create them out of nothing, but to align with them, to step into the station that's already playing. So the next time you find yourself trying to control, forcing an outcome, or resisting the way things are unfolding, pause. Ask yourself, what frequency am I broadcasting right now? Not what am I pushing, not what am I demanding, but what am I tuning to? Because reality is not controlled, it is tuned. And when you tune differently, life bends effortlessly. The music was always playing. The wave was always infinite. The only question is, which station will you choose to hear? What if every emotion you feel is not a burden, but a message? Every wave of anger, every ripple of sadness, every spark of joy, it is all communication. A feedback system built into your biology. Emotions are not random storms, they are frequencies, and frequencies are guidance. Think about it. A compass does not punish you when you wander off course. It simply points you back north. In the same way, emotions are your inner compass, constantly showing you where you're tuned. Low vibrations whisper, you've drifted. Elevated states remind you, you're aligned. Neuroscience confirms this. When you experience fear, guilt, or shame, your brain and body shift into survival mode. Stress hormones surge, your nervous system constricts, your field contracts. You tune into a narrow frequency that collapses reality into scarcity and threat. But when you feel gratitude, love, or inspiration, your heart and brain move into coherence. Your electromagnetic field expands. You broadcast differently, and the quantum field responds. This is why two people can stand in the same situation and live entirely different lives. Imagine them both caught in traffic. One feels anger rising, gripping the wheel, convinced the world is against them. Their heart races, their frequency collapses into frustration. The other turns up the music, breathes deeply, and uses the time to reflect. Their body relaxes, their mind opens, and they arrive not just at a destination, but in a state of peace. The road didn't change. The traffic didn't change. The only thing that shifted was the frequency they chose. Here's the truth. Emotions are not here to drown you. They are here to guide you. Every negative state is not a sign you are broken. It is a signal that you are out of alignment with your higher frequency. And every elevated state is proof that you are in harmony with it. But here's the paradox. Most people either suppress their emotions or drown in them. Suppression cuts you off from your compass. Over-identification traps you in the storm. The secret is observation. When you witness your emotion as frequency without judgment, you reclaim the power to tune again. This is what Joe Dispenza means when he says your emotions are recordings of the past. They are memory loops, patterns repeating until you observe them differently. When you stop being the passenger of the feeling and start being the observer of the frequency, you awaken choice. So the next time you feel anxiety, don't ask, "Why is this happening to me?" Instead ask, "What is this frequency telling me?" When joy rises, don't dismiss it as fleeting. Anchor it, feel it, amplify it. Because the more you hold the elevated state, the more your body memorizes alignment, and the more reality reflects it back. Emotions are not accidents. They are invitations. They are not punishments. They are pathways. The compass is always pointing. The only question is, will you listen? You think alignment is only spiritual. But what if alignment is biological? What if your body itself is a transmitter, a living antenna constantly broadcasting the frequency you carry? Here's the truth. Coherence is not just a mystical state. It is measurable. It is scientific. It is the harmony between your heart and your brain, your breath and your nervous system, your inner world and the quantum field. When you are incoherent, when your mind races with fear and your heart contracts with stress, your signals are scattered. The field around you is chaotic, and life reflects that chaos back. But when you are coherent, your brain waves and heart rhythms move in harmony. Your body becomes a single unified signal, and reality responds to that steady broadcast. Neuroscience has studied this. The HeartMath Institute calls it heart-brain coherence. When you slow your breath and focus on elevated emotions, gratitude, love, peace, your heart rhythm shifts into a smooth, ordered pattern. Your brain follows. Your entire nervous system recalibrates. In this state, your body no longer sends signals of survival. Instead, it radiates safety, openness, creation. And here's where the quantum connection appears. A coherent heart generates an electromagnetic field that can be measured several feet beyond your body. This means your inner alignment is not private. It is a frequency you project into the field, and the field mirrors it back. Think of two people entering a room. One is scattered, anxious, radiating stress. The other is calm, grounded, steady. Without a word, everyone feels the difference. One pulls the room into turbulence, the other into coherence. This is not magic. This is biology, but coherence is not something you stumble into. It is something you practice. Breath is the doorway. Slow, rhythmic breathing tells your nervous system you are safe. Focus is the anchor. Directing your awareness inward pulls energy out of distraction and back into the present. Elevated emotion is the fuel. Choosing gratitude or compassion amplifies the signal. Together, these three, breath, focus, and emotion, tune your system into harmony. And when you practice this consistently, something profound happens. You stop losing your alignment throughout the day. You stop leaking frequency every time stress knocks. You stop drifting into old unconscious patterns. Instead, you carry your alignment with you, into traffic, into work, into conversations, into silence. This is why mystics speak of flow states. It is not an abstract miracle. It is the biological reality of a coherent system. In flow, time bends, creativity rises, synchronicity appears. You feel guided, carried, supported, not because the universe suddenly favors you, but because you tuned into the frequency where support has always lived. So the next time you feel scattered, remember, coherence is not far. One slow breath, one shift of focus, one moment of gratitude, and your entire system begins to realign. Alignment is not fragile, it is trainable, it is biological, it is repeatable. The science of coherence proves what the mystics have always said. You do not find alignment. You become it. And when you become it, life has no choice but to echo you back in harmony. You try to choose joy. You try to hold gratitude. You try to stay in alignment, and yet, something pulls you back. Here's the hidden truth. It is not always your conscious choice that shapes your frequency. It is the silent broadcast of your subconscious, the part of you that carries old identities, unhealed memories, and inherited beliefs. You can wake up aligned, speak affirmations, visualize your future. But if your subconscious is running a different signal, the static overrides your song. This is why you sometimes feel stuck, even when you're doing the work. Neuroscience tells us that by age 35, most of who you are is a memorized set of thoughts, emotional reactions, and behaviors. In other words, your body has become a record of your past. These patterns live in the subconscious, firing automatically. You don't choose them, they choose you. Think of it like a radio with two frequencies playing at once. On the surface, your conscious mind says, I am abundant, I am free. But underneath, the subconscious broadcasts, I am unworthy, I am unsafe, I am stuck. The result? Static, confusion. The old signal pulling you back into the old self. This is why change feels difficult. It is not because the universe is against you. It is because your subconscious is still broadcasting yesterday's identity. Here's a simple example. Imagine two people both declaring, I am worthy of love. The first feels it deeply. Their subconscious agrees. Their nervous system opens, and they naturally attract connection. The second repeats the words, but their subconscious whispers, no, you're not. Their body contracts. Their energy closes. The field doesn't respond to the words. It responds to the frequency beneath them. This is the subconscious pull. But here's the good news. The subconscious is not a prison. It is programmable. It can be rewired. Awareness is the first step. The moment you notice the pattern, when you say, this thought, this feeling, this behavior is an old signal, not who I am now, you create space. In that space, choice is born. From here, repetition and emotion begin the rewiring. When you repeatedly bring elevated emotions, gratitude, love, inspiration into the body, you start teaching your subconscious a new signal. The old identity weakens, and a new one strengthens. This is how unconscious programming is broken, not by fighting the old, but by installing the new. As Amit Goswami teaches, consciousness is the ground of all being. Your subconscious is only a recording. It is not the observer itself. And when you step back into the role of observer, you reclaim authority over the broadcast. So the next time you feel yourself pulled back, pause. Don't fight it. Observe it. Remind yourself, this is the old signal. This is not who I am anymore. Because the moment you see the subconscious as a program, you stop being enslaved by it. You stop living as the old self. You start broadcasting as the new one. And here lies the awakening. Your past is not your prison. It is only your pattern, and patterns can be rewritten. Not every thought you think is yours. Not every emotion you feel belongs to you. Here's the paradox. You are both a transmitter and a receiver. You broadcast your frequency into the field, but you also pick up signals from the people and environments around you. And if you don't notice, you can spend entire days carrying emotions that were never yours to begin with. Think about it. You walk into a room after an argument has taken place. The air feels heavy. No one needs to tell you what happened. You can sense it. Or you spend time with someone who is deeply anxious, and within minutes, your chest feels tight too. This isn't imagination. It is resonance. Your electromagnetic field is interacting with theirs. Neuroscience explains this through mirror neurons, cells in your brain that fire when you see someone else experiencing an emotion, as if you were experiencing it yourself. Spiritual philosophy explains it as energy exchange, your field blending with another's. Either way, the result is the same. You absorb what isn't yours. Here's the hidden cost. When you unconsciously carry external energy, you lose alignment with your own. You start making decisions from borrowed emotions, broadcasting signals that don't belong to you. And over time, this creates confusion, exhaustion, even identity erosion. But you are not powerless here. You can protect your field. You can choose what you carry. The first key is awareness. Begin asking yourself, is this feeling mine? Or did I pick it up from someone else? That simple question often reveals the truth. The second key is energetic hygiene. Just as you wash your body daily, cleanse your energy. Breathwork, meditation, time in nature, even visualizing light around you. These practices clear your field. They reset your frequency. The third key is boundaries. This doesn't mean isolation. It means clarity. You can love someone without carrying their pain. You can be compassionate without absorbing their chaos. Boundaries are not walls. They are filters, keeping what nourishes and releasing what drains. Here's an example. Two people both work in the same high-stress office. The first absorbs the tension, goes home irritable, and takes it out on their family. The second notices the energy but grounds themselves through breath and intention before leaving work. They arrive home calm, carrying their own alignment instead of someone else's stress. The environment was the same. The difference was energetic hygiene. This is the truth. Not every frequency is yours to hold. And the more you learn to release what isn't yours, the more clearly your true signal shines. So the next time you feel heavy, pause, ask, clear, reset, because protecting your field is not selfish. It is sacred. And when you hold your frequency steady, you don't just protect yourself, you become an anchor for everyone around you. Alignment is not a destination you reach once and never return to. It is a rhythm you learn to dance with. Again and again. Here's the truth. Your nervous system, your thoughts, and your emotions are constantly shifting. The field around you is always in motion. And if you don't create anchors, you will drift with the currents of the day, pulled by stress, distraction, and other people's frequencies. That's why alignment cannot be a single morning routine. It must become a living ritual woven into the fabric of your hours. Small choices repeated consistently create a stable field that no storm can easily shake. Think of it like tuning an instrument. A guitar doesn't stay in tune forever. The strings tighten and loosen with the environment, and so do you. If you don't retune, you eventually drift out of harmony. Daily rituals are the tuning forks of your life. They bring you back into resonance with the frequency you choose to live from. One of the simplest anchors is breath. When you pause and breathe slowly, you send a signal to your heart, which then sends a signal to your brain. This creates coherence, balance, flow. You don't need an hour. Even 3 deep breaths can reset your field. Another anchor is visualization. Your subconscious doesn't know the difference between what is real and what is vividly imagined. When you see yourself already living in peace, abundance, or love, your nervous system begins to match that reality. It's the observer effect, applied to your inner world. Consciousness collapses possibility into form the moment you choose to see it. Then there's journaling. Writing down your thoughts isn't just reflection. It is alignment on paper. It organizes chaos into clarity, transforms scattered energy into intention. Many people carry emotional static all day because they never discharge it. Journaling is how you release the static and retune your frequency. And let's not forget micro-pauses. These are the hidden anchors most people overlook. Imagine you're in the middle of a difficult conversation. Instead of reacting automatically, you pause for 2 seconds, you breathe, you remember who you are. That single micro-pause can prevent an argument, save your energy, and keep your alignment intact. Here's an example. 2 people both wake up stressed. The first rushes into the day without pausing, and the stress snowballs into frustration, mistakes, and tension with others. The second begins with 5 minutes of breath work, writes down their top 3 intentions, and takes short pauses throughout the day to recalibrate. By evening, they feel grounded, calm, and even joyful. The circumstances were similar, but the rituals created a completely different reality. This is the science and the art of anchoring. Rituals are not habits you force. They are agreements you make with your future self. Each time you return to them, you strengthen the signal of who you are becoming. So here's the invitation. Create your anchors. Choose the practices that bring you back to yourself, whether it's stillness, movement, prayer, writing, or simply breathing. Scatter them through your day like sacred stones marking the path back home. Because alignment isn't a one-time victory. It is a rhythm, and when you learn to anchor that rhythm, you don't just survive the chaos of life, you begin to conduct it. You become the steady tone others can harmonize with. You become the field that shifts the room. You become the anchor. Every moment, you are standing at a crossroad of infinite realities, and the version of life you walk into depends on the state you choose now. This is not philosophy. It is physics. The double-slit experiment revealed that matter behaves differently when observed. Consciousness itself collapses waves of probability into one path, one reality. Which means your awareness is not just noticing life, it is shaping it. Here's the paradox. You think the future is out there, waiting to be revealed. But the future is in here, waiting to be chosen. And presence is the key. Presence is not just sitting quietly or meditating. Presence is the art of returning to this moment again and again, no matter how many times you drift. Because the moment you come back, you step out of the unconscious program that runs your old identity. You stop replaying the same emotions, the same stories, the same frequency. And when you stop replaying the past, you stop recreating it. Think about it. 2 people can face the same challenge. One reacts automatically, stress, anger, defensiveness. They stay on the timeline where nothing changes. The other pauses, breathes, becomes present. From that presence, they see new possibilities, respond differently, and step into a higher path. Same situation, different timeline. That is the power of presence. It is the doorway to quantum choice. Joe Dispenza teaches that every time you bring your awareness back from the past or the future into the now, you reclaim energy. Your body stops running on survival patterns. Your nervous system shifts from stress to creation. You begin to broadcast a new frequency. And as your frequency changes, so does the timeline you align with. Here's an example you may know from your own life. Maybe you've been caught in a loop of negative self-talk. I'm not enough. It never works out. People always let me down. Each thought is like a radio station pulling you into the same future over and over again. But the moment you notice it, the moment you say, "Wait, I am thinking this," you become present. And in that presence, the signal shifts. You are no longer trapped inside the frequency. You are the observer, and the observer always has the power to choose. Presence is not about escaping your life. It is about rewriting it. Every breath, every pause, every moment of awareness is a timeline shift. So the invitation is simple. Return. Return to the now. Return when your mind runs ahead. Return when your emotions pull you back. Return when the static of the world drowns out your clarity. Every time you return, you collapse possibility into form, and the form you create is a higher one. This is how you shift timelines, not by force, not by waiting, but by presence. And when you live this way, life itself becomes a quantum dance, a rhythm of infinite doors opening, each one leading you closer to the reality you were always meant to walk. Because the future is not waiting, it is listening. And it is shaped by the presence you choose now. You were never meant to chase alignment. You were meant to become it. Here's the truth most people miss. You are not here to keep adjusting, correcting, or endlessly fixing yourself. You are here to embody the frequency you wish to live in, so fully, so deeply, that reaction is no longer your master. Think about it. Most of your life has been a cycle of reacting. Someone says something, and you shrink. Life throws an obstacle, and you tighten. A past memory resurfaces, and you relive the pain as if it were now. Reaction keeps you tethered to old timelines, repeating the same emotions, the same choices, the same outcomes. But what if your life is not meant to be a series of reactions? What if your life is meant to be a radiant broadcast? Science already whispers this truth. Your heart generates the most powerful electromagnetic field in your body, measurable several feet beyond you. Your emotions, quite literally, project into the quantum field, broadcasting frequency before a single word leaves your mouth. You are always radiating. The question is, are you radiating by default, through unconscious patterns, or by design, through conscious alignment? This is the ultimate shift. You stop living as a reaction to what happens, and you begin living as the frequency you choose. Take this example. Two people walk into the same room. One is anxious, waiting to be judged, waiting to react to every glance. The other carries presence, peace, and quiet certainty. Nothing external changed. The room is the same, but the experience, the timeline, bends around the frequency they carry. One becomes a mirror of fear, the other a mirror of calm. This is not theory. You felt it before. The person who lights up a space without saying a word. The one who shifts the atmosphere with their laughter. The friend whose calm steadies you in chaos. They are not reacting to the field. They are directing it. And you can do the same. Joe Dispenza reminds us, you don't get the life you want. You get the life you are. This is the essence of living as frequency. When you are love, you don't chase it. When you are abundance, you don't need to force it. When you are alignment, you don't try to hold it. You simply radiate, and life reflects it back. Living this way is not about perfection. It is about identity. You stop asking, how do I stay aligned? And you begin asking, who am I being? Because when your being is frequency, alignment is no longer fragile, it is natural. Here is the invitation. Stop waiting for circumstances to calm down before you feel calm. Stop waiting for people to change before you feel free. Stop waiting for proof before you feel worthy. Choose the frequency first. Become it. Anchor it in your body, in your breath, in your daily rituals, and watch as the mirror of life bends to reflect it. Because when you live as frequency, life no longer pulls you off center. You are the center, you are the field. You are the vibration that shapes reality. This is the final shift. From reacting to creating, from effort to embodiment, from trying to being. You are not reaction, you are frequency, and the world around you is waiting to reflect the truth you decide to radiate.